Hello all. So we are going to have a new lecture series on control systems. So control system is a part of engineering in electrical and electronics department where students learn in the fourth semester of their curriculum. So in unit 1, so this subject is split into 5 units, whereas we are going to discuss about unit 1 and topic 1, which is control system modeling, and we are going to discuss about the basic elements of control system. So before moving into the control system, let us discuss what is a control system. Like wherever when we go to industrial applications, we deal with control systems where the systems becomes automated nowadays. So in order to make a system automated, it should have a feedback from the output, and the error has to be corrected, and again it has to be controlled and given to the output where we get the entire response which we are in with. So let's recall something before going into depth into the subject, like the essence of real-time control system. So control system is mainly used for timely response, predictable outcomes, and in order to have a stable output and to improve the performance. So when we deal about the performance, it speaks about the operating efficiency and the effectiveness. Whereas timely response is it ensures the actions which are taken within the deadlines. So predictable outcomes is we will have a particular thought in our mind, like this is the output which we have to get from the system. So without control system, it is not possible. Coming to the stability of the system, so maintaining equilibrium and disruptions. So this is the main essence of real-time control system which we use in the industries. So now let us recall some of the home appliances which works on control system. So in our day-to-day applications, we use many of the equipments which works in control system. For example, washing machine, so which works in a particular control system. So without which we are not living in the world. So coming to today's topic, so topics for discussion is introduction to control system, basic components of control system, and listing the components like controller, sensors, actuators, and what is feedback and what is error signal and what are some of the applications. So this is what we are going to discuss in this session. So here we have a small picture like uh, we will have an input, we will receive the feedback, we will adjust the system and give the needed output. So this is what is the simple diagram of a control system. So coming to let's explore. So these are all some of the industrial control systems. So efficiency, optimization. So all these comes under the control system. So industrial process and what is that they do their security purpose, everything comes under the control system. So introduction to control system. Here we have some of the basic fundamental components, and we have a controller, and that controller receives the signal from the feedback, and error signal is what is the difference between the reference input and the feedback value, which is what we call it as error signal that has to be corrected. And sensors and actuators, in order to sense the output from the output, and it gives to the input, and some of the applications. So this is about the introduction to control system. So it is defined as the control system is a system designed to regulate and maintain a desired output or behavior. So this is what is the control system. So coming to components, so it will have an input which is reference input, and reference input it gets some it processes through the plant, and it gives some feedback to the controller, and the overall system is regulating the output is called as control system. So reference input is desired output or the behavior, whereas the plant and the processes system needing the control. So for which system we are giving the input, and for from the which system we are taking that particular output. So this is the plant or the process, and feedback is the information from the system's output. Based on the output, the controller gives another signal and the overall system is regulated, and it gives a regulated output, which is what we call it as the control system. So role of a plant or a process. So it is a process or a system or a process that needs to be controlled, like an electric circuit or a manufacturing plant, whatever it may be, where we have to apply the control system, and that is what we call it as a plant or a process. So what is the main behavior? It aims to regulate the plant's behavior. Main important part is controller. So controller is the brain of the control system. It receives information about the plant's current state, which is through the feedback, and it compares with the reference input and gives an error signal, which is again given to the controller. This action is continuous till we get the desired output. So this control action is to minimize the difference between the two, which is what is reference input and the feedback, and the output from the feedback. So by comparing two, we will get an error signal which is to be given to the controller. Next, about the sensors and actuators. So sensor, the purpose is in order to measure the physical quantity. So sensor measures the physical quantity from the output and gives the feedback to the controller, and this is mainly used in order to increase the accuracy and the reliability of the system. So this is what is the purpose of the sensor. Whereas coming to the actuator, actuator is where we are using for the pump or the heater or the motor or valves. These are all things called as, we call it as actuators. So we tell like feedback and error signal. So here we have a clear picture, like positive feedback. So plant output. So plant output feedback mechanism. In feedback we have two types. One is positive feedback, another one is negative feedback. And this is implemented to the controller, and which makes the control system very stable. Coming to the error signal. So error signal is the difference between the two. So here we have stated like larger error signal, like system far from the desired state, like we are expecting some result. So from that it has a larger difference, whereas small error is it is nearer to the desired state. So before, in between both, we will have two things. One is controller action, another one is output adjustment. So controller action is it calculates the control action, whereas output adjustment is system output moves closer to the small error signal. So from the larger error signal, control action is done, output is adjusted, and it is made it to a smaller error signal. So this is feedback and the error signal. Coming to the applications of control system in real world, we have n number of applications that can be listed. Here we have two main applications, like industrial automation and the power generation. So industrial automation is it is used to automate manufacturing processes, whereas power generation, the control system is used in the operation of power plants, including nuclear power plants and renewable energy systems. And this plays a major role in nowadays where control systems are mainly used. So here let us summarize with a mind map. Like in this lecture, we have discussed about the basic elements of control system, in which the definition of control system is done. Core components like controller, plant or process, actuators, reference inputs, feedback, and error signal has been discussed. Whereas in the feedback types, we have two: positive feedback and negative feedback. And coming to the real world applications, industrial application, power generation has been discussed. So here we have a small assessment, like which of the following best defines a control system. So we have answers like a system that regulates the behavior of another system is called as control system. Which of the following is the characteristic feature of a closed loop is presence of feedback to compare output with the reference input. So thank you. Let us meet in the next video.